Teaching yoga is a funny job because you spend the whole class guiding people to breathe and talking about the importance of the breath, but you're breathing poorly yourself because you have to keep talking. I'm senior yoga teacher Heather Agnew, and today I want to talk briefly about how to maintain a student focused class. That means providing all the guidance that your students need, while also ensuring that you as a teacher have space to breathe and move safely. Because remember, you don't have to sacrifice your own body in order to teach a great class. Now, this is especially important when you teach a flow style yoga like Vinyasa flow or core yoga, which are faster paced and require a lot of technical cues in a short amount of time. You're cueing poses and transitions and breath, offering versions and props for accessibility, and hopefully adding some useful refining cues as well. And it's a lot. So today I'm going to share a few tips to ensure that your students get all the guidance they need and that you as a teacher can have some breathing space. So the first tip is to name your poses. It's going to reduce how much you have to cue familiar poses. Think of the difference in cueing like exhale, pull back to down dog, rather than exhale, curl your toes under, lift your hips, send your hips back to the back of the mat. Like, which one gives you more space to breathe? Now, of course, this requires that at some point you teach the pose with all the cues and instructions needed, and then ensure that your students can connect the pose and the guidance you've provided. So that leads me to my next tip, which is take your time. Take some extra time in your first flow to give students a bit more information about each pose and each transition. For example, in sun salutations, in your first round, you might take 2 to 3 breaths in each pose and each transition to provide some instructive cues, some imagery cues, some accessibility guidance. This gives both you and your students some space to move and breathe and make choices and understand each part of the flow. And then you can add some pace in your next round and rely more on pose names and breath cues rather than detailed instructive cues. The third tip is called the Tristhana cueing strategy. And the Tristhana is a threefold focus on body, breath, and gaze. So especially in flow style yoga, this is a really useful strategy to ensure that students get the basic information they need in a one breath, one movement, one cue rhythm. So an example is inhale, reach up, gaze up, exhale, fold forward, gaze to knees. So body, breath, and gaze cues. Number 4 is the 3 essential cues strategy. So this is sort of building on this and especially useful when you're taking a few breaths in a pose. The 3 essential cues strategy helps you to refine your cues because you can't cue everything in every pose. So work on distilling your cues down to essentials. What do they need to know and when? And usually it's more oriented around instructive cues. And prioritize your cues and know that you'll have other classes to keep adding layers and refinements and pose options. And remember, if you're doing asymmetrical poses, poses that have 2 sides, like triangle or side angle, you have a second side to add some new cues and add some refinements. Number 5, reduce your demos. Demo as much as your students need, and then get out of the pose to view and cue and breathe yourself. Often gestures or semi-demos are enough to indicate movement, direction, alignment. You don't need to demo the full pose every time. And my last tip is to keep practicing. Your own practice is going to help you in developing fitness and breath control so that you can better manage your breath and your voice while you're teaching. I hope these are useful tips for you, especially as a new teacher. It's a lot going on when you're teaching a class. I hope this can help you to find a balance of cueing, demoing, guiding while maintaining your own breath. While your focus is always on your students, of course, it's important that you don't forget about your own needs as well. Hope this helps.